All right, so let's get into the calculation of macronutrients and calories the metabolic effect way. This is the way we do it here at Metabolic Effect. So the first thing to understand is that you always start with protein. And why would you always start with protein? Because remember, it's always about making sure hunger, energy, and cravings, HEC, stays in check. And protein is the number one satiating macronutrient. And so we always start with protein. And then we back calculate the calories and the other macronutrients, carbohydrates and fat from there. So let me walk you through this stepwise. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to say the protein grams are going to be equal to your lean body mass if you're after fat loss. In other words, you're going to set your grams of protein equal to your lean body mass if you want primarily fat loss. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. If you want muscle gain, you're going to set your protein grams to pounds of body weight. Okay? So if you want fat loss, you're going to set your protein grams to lean body mass. If you want muscle gain, you're going to set your protein grams to pounds of body weight. Now, if you want fat loss, you're going to set your macros to 30, 40, 30. Carbs, protein, fat. Okay? So your protein is going to be 40% of your total calories. If you're after muscle gain, you're going to set your macros to 40, 30, 30. Protein is going to be 30% of your total calories in that case. Now, once you establish that, you're going to back calculate your calories, your fat, and your carbohydrates. And remember, your body does not work like a calculator. You might think it does, but it does not. It works more like a seesaw or a thermostat. So once you put this process in place, your body will push back against you and compensate. And you'll have to adjust based on your hunger, energy, and cravings, HEC, or what we here at Metabolic Effect call HEC. You may need to raise your carbohydrates or fat a little bit. You may need to raise or lower your protein a little bit. These are starting places. This isn't defined for each person. It's a starting place. It gets you started. Then you're going to adjust based on your reactions to hunger, energy, and cravings, or HEC, what we call HEC. So let's get into this. Here's an example. A 150-pound woman who's 30% body fat who wants fat loss, right? So the first step is going to be to calculate her lean body mass. So what I did here is I took 150 pounds times 0.30, 30%, and I calculated her pounds of body fat, which was 45. Then to get her lean body mass, I'm going to take 150 pounds and subtract 45 pounds of body fat from that, and her lean body mass is 105, okay? Now, second step. Now I'm going to set the protein grams to the lean body mass. So I'm going to give this person 105 grams of protein. That's how many grams that we're going to get. Now I'm going to calculate the total calories that equals. So remember what we said. If you're wanting fat loss, we're giving you a 30, 40, 30 macronutrient ratio. So 40% is going to be protein. So we need to figure out 105 grams is 40% of how many calories. The way we do that is we take 105 grams and we multiply that times 4 calories per gram, because there's 4 calories per gram of protein. And that gives us the amount of protein calories, which is 420. From there, we can cross multiply and take 420 divided by 40%, and we get the total amount of calories that this woman will be eating, 1,050 total calories. The next thing we do is calculate the macros from that. Carbs are 30% because we're eating a 30, 40, 30 macronutrient ratio. So 30% of 1050 is 315 calories. But there are 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate. So we take 315 and divide it by 4. That gives us 78 grams of total carbohydrate. The protein is 105 grams. We've already calculated that. That's based on the lean body mass. And the fat is 30% of 1,050 calories. That comes to 315 calories. And there's 9 calories per gram of fat. So we take 315 divided by 9 and we get 35 grams. So the macros for this particular woman at 150 pounds and 30% body fat is 30% carb, 40% protein, 30% fat, and that comes to 78 grams of carb, 105 grams of protein, and 35 grams of fat. Now, the first thing that people are going to say is they're going to look at that 1,050 total calories. They're going to be, oh my God, those calories are so low, right? That's what a lot of people will say. This is not the way to look at it, and it's exactly the reason why I do not like people who just focus on calories, because they have this idea that your calories can go way too low, and they certainly can, but your body will tell you that. In other words, if this calorie concentration is too low, hunger, energy, and cravings is going to get out of control, and you'll know you have to raise it, or change your carbohydrate percent, or change your protein percent, or change your fat percent. Remember what I said. The metabolism does not work like a calculator. It works like a seesaw or thermostat. So this is just the beginning place. This will work fine for most people. And how will we know? Where is the extra energy is going to come from to give this woman energy? Well, she's got 30% body fat on her body. We're giving her lean body mass, 105 grams of protein. This is going to force her to use body fat to make up the difference in the calories that she needs for the day. This is how it is done. The body will do just fine. If hunger, energy, and cravings are balanced and you're losing fat, you don't even realize that you're having low calories unless you think to yourself, oh, that's a low calorie count. I've had clients who are naturally eating 800 calories per day without even counting because their hunger, energy, and cravings are in check, and they're just naturally eating that amount because that's what their body is wanting, and they're losing fat like crazy. So this is the example for someone who wants fat loss. This is exactly how we calculate it. One more time, I'm going to tell you, this is just a starting point. Hunger, energy, and cravings has to guide you. Now, example number 2, the same 150-pound woman who wants muscle gain, okay? Now what we're going to do is set the protein grams to equal body weight. So we're going to give them 150 grams of protein. Then we're going to calculate the total calories. 150 grams is 30% of how many calories? Because remember, when we're wanting muscle gain, we're setting the calories to 40% carb, 30% protein, and 30% fat. So now we're going to say 150 grams of protein is 30% of how many calories? Well, 150 grams times 4 calories per gram of protein equals 600 calories a day from protein. Then we're going to take 600 and cross multiply and divide that by 30%. And that gives us our total calories of 2,000 total calories for her. Once we have that, now we can calculate the carbs and the fat ratio. Well, we're eating a 40-30-30 diet, 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. So carbs are set at 40% of 2,000, 800 calories, divided by 4 calories per gram of carb means that you're going to be getting 200 grams of carbohydrate total per day. We've already set the protein grams at 150, and now we calculate the fat grams. Fat is 30% of the 2,000 total calories. That equals 600 calories, right? Divided by 9 calories per gram of fat gives us 66, 67 grams of fat. So now we have our muscle gaining macronutrient and calorie ratio. 2,000 calories at a 40-30-30 ratio of carbs, protein, and fat. So we're basically going to be eating 200 grams of carbohydrates, 150 grams of protein, and 67 grams of fat. Now, just like the other example, people might look at this and be like, whoa, the calories are too high or whatever. Or how are we going to gain muscle? If HEC is in check and you're gaining muscle, and the cool thing about this particular formula is hopefully you'll be losing fat along the way as well, then we know we're doing the exact right thing. And you can tweak calories up or down and macronutrient ratio up or down depending on your results. This is the way that we do it. Now, here is the caveat, and this is the thing that everyone misses, and this is why counting calories and doing macros goes so wrong for so many people, because it's not about calorie counting. It's not about a specific formula. There is no such thing as a formula that you can plug in for every individual on the planet that will give consistent, sustained, lasting fat loss. Hunger, energy, and cravings, HEC, or what I call HEC, comes first. That has to be your guide. To lose fat and keep it off, you need a calorie deficit and hormonal balance. Hunger, energy, and cravings tells you whether you have hormonal balance. If HEC is out of check, if you have hunger all the time, cravings all the time, unstable energy, you are doing this wrong no matter how well you calculated calories and macros. HEC comes first. If HEC is not in check, you need to adjust everything I just told you. Now, real quick, protein sources, just so people get this, because we're starting with protein. 1 scoop of protein powder is roughly 20 to 30 grams of protein. 6 ounces of chicken, steak, fish, or turkey is roughly 30 grams of protein. A half a cup of rice, oats, or potato is roughly 25 grams of carbohydrate. 1 cup of fruit is roughly 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrate, depending on the fruit. 1 cup of mixed veggies is roughly 5 to 10 grams of total carbohydrate. And 2 tablespoons of fat is roughly 15 grams of fat. This is just a brief cheat sheet for you. So I hope that this helps you, and I hope you also got the point. I'm going to say it again and again and again, that this is not the way the metabolism works. The metabolism is not a calculator. It's more like a seesaw or thermostat. This is a starting point, and then you adjust along the way based on hunger, energy, and cravings. I hope this was helpful for you, seeing the way that we calculate calories and macros for those of you who have the psychological disposition to want to know numbers.